Hello, good afternoon. Welcome from Tallinn, e-Residency office. My name is Raimo. I'm head of partnerships at the Estonian e-Residency team.
And I'm Maren. I work at the e-Residency team as well. I'm the principal business analyst.
Yes, great to meet you all here. Today we're going to cover basics of Estonian e-Residency, and we are waiting for your questions during the live Q&A session. So we take a few moments people to join. A few things I would like to point out. First of all, if you do have already a question, then you are welcome to add it to Q&A tab. So if you want your question to be answered, then please to add it to Q&A session. Some of the questions will be answered in the written form. Some of them will be answered by our guests and us today. And we have two lovely guests here today. We have Ivar from Unicount, which is one of the most experienced service providers in the e-residency marketplace.
Hi, everyone.
And then we have a real e-resident as well, of course. We have Krystel right from Dubai. She will share her experience as an e-resident.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here with you.
Then again, in the chat, you are welcome to write us where are you joining us, just to have it, chat going on, or you can share emotions, ideas there as well. It may be that there are some Facebook or WhatsApp or other kind of social media groups shared for joining. Just to be aware that they are not official channels of e-residency, and we do not have any. We are not guaranteeing any like the quality of the group or the discussion there. So you can join if you want to, but just be aware that they may be initiated by someone else than e-residency team. But I think we are ready to start with the content of the webinar as well. So as said, we have Maren, me, Krystel, and Ivar here. And what we are going to talk about, first of all, about how to become an e-resident, what are the main criteria, how does the application process looks like, and so on. You can have questions about this as well. Then we cover basics of company incorporation in Estonia, which is easy to do, especially with the help of service providers. So we cover the basic information about it, including also business banking part of it. And then you can have the questions about company formation. And the third part is just a very, very brief, short overview of taxation, cross-border taxation and the tax system in Estonia. And now I give the floor to Ivar to talk about Unicount a bit.
Hi. Yes, Unicount has been on the marketplace since 2019. It's not my first company serving e-residents. So actually, I've been working with e-residency since 2014 when it first came to Estonia. First e-residents got their IDs in December 2014. So it has been 10 great years of e-residency. And this is my second company on the field, mostly focusing on do-it-yourself business model where you get access to our self-service portal and you can really set up your company after you have the card in 3 minutes if you're really quick with your application. And later on, you just pay as you go with all the services you may need, such as mandatory annual accounts, VAT registrations, tax reports. So all these items are available for you to order from the client dashboard after you have subscribed to our annual virtual office services, which is mandatory for any e-resident who wants to order our services. And we do put out a lot of content. So whenever you have time and you still want to do your research, just go and dig into our blog posts or support articles, because we have really created an extensive database of information, just like e-Residency has. We just have maybe more detail on our services, and otherwise, I'm here to answer your questions. And there's also 2 team members here who can answer your questions in the Q&A. One of them is a tax expert as well, so we'll try to get as much answers to your tax questions as well during this 1 hour. So just type whatever you want to ask, and we'll try to answer you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivar. Now, for those who are really first time joining our webinar or have heard only a little about e-Residency, then we cover the basics of what is e-Residency. It's a digital identity provided by Estonian state, so it's an official document that gives you access to Estonian state services, which basically all are nowadays digital. So whatever business operations and almost every personal operation you need to do or communication you need to have with the state can be done digitally, or at least started or initiated digitally. It's also a secure digital signature, which is as strong and equal to handwritten one. We have the highest EU IDAS security level, and it has proved to be resilient and good. But the main thing is that your e-Residency may be your key to do the business in Estonia and internationally. So it enables you to start the company, run it smoothly, and have the business going on with as little bureaucracy burden as possible. And as we have more than 130,000 e-residents nowadays, then it's also a global community of entrepreneurs like Krystel, who will introduce herself soon. So there are people from very different industries from all around the world that are running cross-border businesses and doing it with the help of e-Residency. At the same time, we would like to emphasize that e-Residency does not give you physical access to Estonia. This is actually a document without the picture. So it is not a travel document. You cannot cross borders with that. It does not give you any citizenship or visa or residence permit in Estonia. Or even like if you need to have a visa to travel to Estonia, you still need to apply for a visa. So this is not giving any physical access to Estonia. Also, it does not affect your personal tax residency. So if you are still residing in your home country, then you are tax resident of your homeland. And it does not give you or guarantee you business or personal bank account in traditional bank in Estonia. Now, the eligibility criteria who can apply e-Residency is the status that will be given for private persons. So it's individuals, they are individuals who need to apply for e-Residency. Even if the purpose of applying is starting a company, and let's say you already have a company in your homeland and you would like to have, holding or subsidiary company in Estonia, then you cannot apply for e-Residency as a company, but individuals who own the company can do that. You should have interest to use Estonian e-services and benefit from the business environment we have. So if you are already a resident of Estonia or citizen of Estonia, you cannot apply. And also there are restrictions for applying Russian and Belarusian citizens. There are some exceptions, but generally it's closed for people from these countries. And sometime in the future, there will be also some restrictions for the new applications from the citizens that are based in countries which Estonia does not have any bilateral legal cooperation or security and law enforcement. But this is a law that's in the preparation and not passed yet. So the reasons why to become e-residents, as I said, registering a company 100% online from anywhere. This is the main value and the main use case for e-Residency. It can be also something else. Like when you are applying, you can also indicate other purposes like I think there is a cultural cooperation or scientific cooperation. So let's say you're a part of the science group, international one, then that's also quite. It's also possible to choose that option. But usually the main benefit is that you can register easily company in Estonia, digitally sign all the documents that are necessary to run this company or whatever other kind of operations you need. Let's say also if you, I don't know, buy a real estate in Estonia and have to administer that asset as well, then it would also probably make sense to become e-resident to make it easier. And as it's digital, digital is always open. Even if you need to send something to Estonian officials for processing, people who are processing it doing it still during the working time. But you can always send everything you need when it's comfortable for you. So you have all the time access to the state services available in Estonia. And benefit from the community. As I said, there are a lot of people in the community from all around the world, especially from European countries. And we have heard many stories about new businesses initiated after meeting other e-residents, new friendships, and also NGO initiatives as well. So how does the applying look like? First of all, applying takes place online. You can do it. You can start it from our website. It takes around 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending how well you are prepared. Do you have all your documents with you and so on? During the application process, you need to choose a pickup location. I will talk about it in the next slides, but generally Estonia has a bit less than 50 locations all around the world where you can pick up your card. It may need cross-border travel as well. So be aware that if you need a visa to go to the country where the pickup location is, then this is something to consider as well. Then Estonian Police and Border Guard will process it and you will get the approval email or additional questions if there are any. If there are questions, then please do answer them as honestly and in great detail as possible. But when you are approved, then basically you can start agreeing meeting in the pickup location, which is either embassy or mission-based temporary pickup location. This is the only time you need to go and see Estonian official face-to-face. So in order to get your card, you need to go there in person. You cannot send someone else there. Take your personal ID with you, and also you need to give fingerprints and signature. You get your card, which comes with a ID card reader as well. And then basically you just need to download the software and start using it. The whole process, the time you need for that varies depending on the location and also like time of the year. So probably if you would apply during the Christmas, then it may take a bit more time, but all in all, it's 3 to 8 weeks. But usually it's like the lower or middle end of this time frame, hopefully. We have, as I said, pickup locations all around the world, but of course we are very well covered in Europe, in most of the Asian capitals. Also Northern America is very well covered. Australia, we have only one pickup location currently in Africa, which is in Cairo. Sadly, no other. But I think it's getting better all the time because the fresh news is that from 7th of January this year, we just launched 3 new pickup locations. Now we have two locations in South America as well, Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo. And also we added Bangkok in Thailand. Just be aware that they are not the locations that are always opened, but there are Estonian officials doing consular missions there after every 2 or 3 months, depending on the location. So you can pick it up there, but just you need to be aware that maybe the waiting time is a bit longer. But of course, if you are in a hurry, then you can always travel to some place which is like Estonian embassy, which is opened on daily basis. So we have covered the first part, which is related to e-residency. Do we have any questions we can answer live?
Yeah, basically, do we actually give consultations for each applying person as well, or each e-resident?
We do not do, because there are so many residents around or so many applications. However, we are aware that many service providers from e-residency marketplace that I'm going to introduce a bit later are doing the initial e-residency application assistance. So they have the experience because they have talked to many e-residents. And yeah, Ivar, do you consult sometimes potentially residents if they turn to you with some of the questions?
We actually have 15-minute free consultation for all new signups, because we do understand that no matter how much content we push out to our website or how much e-residency pushes out content, there's always some questions that people want to ask personally. So all new clients get a 15-minute free consultation when signing up for virtual office. And when signing up for monthly accounting service, there's additional accountants free 15-minute consultation just to get you on the right track, because many things need to be discussed verbally before it really settles in.
But what I probably also would recommend is to read some useful information from our knowledge base, like before applying, like what are the consequences and how to be well prepared. And we have also very thorough article in our blog about how to prepare yourself, what documents are needed, and so on. Maybe someone can also from our team can add it to the chat later. So there is a very thorough blog article about how to prepare yourself for actually applying, or how to get started with applying.
So another quick question: after how many years do you renew the e-residency card?
The renewal takes place after every 5 years, and then you have to go through the whole process. But some of the things are pre-filled, probably now already, but definitely in the future. So it is a bit easier next time, but still you need to go through the process again. And also the behavior of the first 5-year period is taken into account. So if you do have a company and you open it, then we strongly recommend to be compliant with all the rules related to annual reporting and so on, because if you don't submit your reports, then it's more likely that it will be denied.
So I have another question following up with the card as well. It is an e-resident who hasn't used their card for 2.5 years, and they are considering opening a company now. Should they reactivate the card now before using it?
I think so. It's expired.
I don't have the information.
If it's not expired, it's easier. You just turn to the service provider and get started. But if it's expired, then we of course recommend to apply again. So renew it and then do it. If you are in a hurry, it is possible to do it with the power of attorney as well. But we always recommend to become e-residents if that's possible. And if you are multiple shareholders, then if they all will be e-residents, then easier for you to have. Maybe one more thing I would like to emphasize as a like something new we just launched some time ago. Once a person is approved for e-residency, then there is a new environment, digital environment called My e-Residency portal, which enables you to follow the process of applying, or how it's going, what's the situation with the card, is it already in the embassy or not yet, and also it guides you through the next steps, like how to get started with the company formation. So there is this self-service portal that helps you to be updated with the process. But I think we can go on now with the company formation part as well. And we have Krystel here today. She's an e-resident. She's really outstanding one, and you're welcome to introduce a bit like what happened, how did you become e-resident, why, and what's that you're doing?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone that's joining, and a special hello and welcome to anyone that's in my part of the world. I'm Lebanese and I live mostly in Dubai. I also visit Estonia because I have an office there as well. So anyone that logged in, I know there's nobody wrote that they're actually from the UAE right now, but I know there's a lot of people from Lebanon, Turkey, probably Qatar, Pakistan, India. So very hello and welcome. I wanted to show you, actually, I'm not sure if you can see me, but I wanted to show you my own e-residency card. And this is the card, this is the reader. Back in 2020, as you guys know, the world, should I show it to you again? There you go. You can see it, yeah? With my card. Here it is. This is the kit, this is the actual card, and this is the actual reader. So back in 2020, when, of course, you guys know the world changed a little bit, we wanted to pivot our company. To give you a little bit more of a background, my company is called Amazon Sellers Society, and as you might probably guess, the word Amazon is key here. We're one of the leading certified partners for Amazon, and we support sellers on the Amazon platform. In 2020, even though our business is mostly online, we were struggling with being able to find new clients and really work on a remote and digital basis. With our existing structure, which was and still is, because we still have a company based in the UAE, based in Dubai, which set me off to do my own research. And I suggest that you do the same, because I found a lot of YouTube videos from e-residents. I have since created my own video as well, all about their, how it was for them to become e-residents. And that made me a little bit more excited. So I became an e-resident in 2020. I got my card. Back then, there wasn't a lot of places and locations. And like Raimo said, the e-residency team have been adding more and more locations where you can go and pick up your card. I had to go to Turkey to get my card. As soon as I got my card, I plugged it into the computer using the reader, and I was able to register the company in 15 minutes. It was that fast and it was that crazy. And within 24 to 48 hours, we had completely set up everything that we required, including a payment gateway, business bank accounts, online business bank accounts using Wise. And we had already selected, of course, a service provider to assist us with all of that. Now, I'm still a proud e-resident, and I'm still also a proud business owner in the UAE, in Estonia, as well as in the UAE. And since then, I've also became the great team at the e-residency has also selected me to become an e-residency envoy. You can see it on my sweatshirt, which basically means I just love to talk about e-residency and tell people about how great it is to be an e-resident and to operate a company out of Estonia. So if you have any questions related to how to set up a company, from obviously I'm not an expert in taxes, I can just tell you my own experience. I'm happy to help and assist.
Thanks, Krystel. Definitely you'll get some questions later. Now, the basics. Then why do business in Estonia? As you have probably already understood, then the key is the digitalization and the easiness of doing it. You are not dependent on the location or time zone in general, and you can you can do everything online without sending any big piles of paper or needing the help of notaries too much. It's trusted. Estonia in general, it's a very digitalized country already since the beginning of this century. So it's not only that you can get started quickly. Basically, the whole infrastructure is digital, so the whole process is easy to use and trustworthy. Also, like no matter the security situation is globally, then Estonia has stored its data or backed up its data also in Luxembourg. Estonia, by the way, was the first country in the world who opened the data embassy in other countries, so that everything is backed up also in some other place than here. Once your company is up and running, then Estonia has very lively startup ecosystem, which means that if you are really like planning to establish a startup and get it growing, building MVPs, whatever, then Estonia may be actually a good place for you to try it out, because there are a lot of acceleration and incubation programs, as well as also grants and support measures. Because once you have Estonian company up and running, then you will get also right to apply for support measures, like Estonian companies run by people from Estonia. So if my and your company could apply for the same grant, basically, if there are no specific rules for certain type of grant, which may mean sometimes that you need to have people in Estonia, but not all of them demand that. And then the community connect with other entrepreneurs and probably also find new business opportunities when working with other e-residents or providing your services there. We have also cases where our e-residents have established the companies that have become service providers for other e-residents. That's quite common case. You can find country comparison articles from our website as well, which compares Estonia with some other globally well-known jurisdictions that are preferred to establish a company. The list is not like total in the sense that there is no comparison with all the countries, but with some of them. A couple of ideas here as well. We just would like to point out some of the things. Then once you have got your e-residency, which will take a few weeks, but once you have it, then actually establishing a company is a matter of hours, not days or weeks. It can be that you have your application, submitted in the morning, and in the afternoon of the same business day, you have your company already running. Then you are not obliged to hire a local director or agent in Estonia. It can be that you need or you want to hire, but this is not demanded. Then, as said, everything can be done digitally, and probably the most beautiful thing is that the filing taxes takes quite little time compared to maybe more complicated, more traditional business jurisdictions. Like in general, Estonian legal framework and taxation framework is pretty straightforward, not too many exceptions, which make it easier to navigate. And if you have expert service providers to use also, then they do part of it anyway for you, for tax declarations and preparations for annual reports. So the amount of hours put in is smaller, and also if you outsource it, then it's even less. Now, the first part is definitely the registering. You can do it, technically you can do it independently, but the majority of e-residents tend to prefer use the help of service providers like Unicount or any other that are in the marketplace of e-residency. The operations or the preparations will be done in the basic commercial register, and then once everything is set up, then if you use the service provider, they just kind of ask you to approve it and sign it. And if you do everything independently, you still need to figure out who is going to be your contact person. I'm going to talk about it right away. Then running a company, as said, everything can be done digitally. All the tax reporting through the e-environment of tax board, and also other company-related changes you need to do in the business register, let's say, or the registers, you can do it online. And then growing part is find funding opportunities. You can hire employees in Estonia, which is, of course, recommended if you need one. And also become member of the startup community, joining events either digitally or physically, and business meetups. We also have like community meetups, not only in Estonia, but in some other places all around the world, initiated by e-residents. Now, e-Residency marketplace, it's a service providers marketplace we have on our website. It's not a traditional marketplace where you go and do the transaction or buy something. It's more like a curated choice of service providers we dare to suggest. They all have gone through our own kind of like onboarding or vetting system. We know the people. We have direct contact with responsible people in this team. We are aware that they have experience working with e-residents, and um, they are good in quality as well, majority of time at least. So there are 140 and more companies represented in the marketplace. But out of them, around 40-50 are called corporate service providers. And there is, by the law in Estonia, there is one mandatory service you need to have if your address is outside of Estonia. So let's say you are in, I don't know, in Berlin, let's say, and you are going to run your company from Berlin, then in business register, you will have their address in Berlin, but you need to appoint the contact person in Estonia, who is in the eyes of Estonian the state, the contact point, who receives the official information or the letters that are sent out from the state. So if Estonia wants to send you something on paper, which rarely happens, but let's say they want to send you something, then basically your contact person will receive it, and in the eyes of Estonian state, it's handed over, and then the service provider needs to send it for you where you actually are. Not a random person can act as your local contact person, but this is a licensed business in Estonia regulated by Financial Intelligence Authority. So it means that they have their own KYC process when they onboard you as a customer. So in addition to applying for e-residency, once you start opening a company, then your service provider is likely to ask some questions about your background, about where the money comes from for your company, and so on, so on. So contact person is a mandatory service, but in addition to that, usually the same service providers, either in this team or in cooperation with other service providers, provide also other necessary services that you need, like accounting, legal advice, tax consulting, company administration support, and business matchmaking even, or whatever you need. So they are usually your best friends in Estonia in terms of your business. So from the marketplace, you can choose and find and filter out based on your needs who would be a good fit for you. Now, from our website, you can also find the funding portal or the like business opportunities portal. As I said, once you have Estonian company, new opportunities arise. You can apply for grants and support measures given out by Estonian state. And also there are a lot of acceleration programs that are also accepting e-resident companies. So this funding portal part of the website is probably the best English-speaking source of funding and support options in Estonia for e-resident companies. So go and check out. However, I recommend you go to the like original landing page to be sure whether their, I don't know, application route is currently open or not. Some things sometimes may be outdated, although we try to keep it updated as well. But there is so much going on in the startup community that it's a good thing. Now, most of the e-residents tend to establish OÜ, which is a private limited company. This is the most popular one, and shareholders' liability is limited. It's very easy and straightforward to get started, suitable everyone from solopreneurs to startups and to more traditional SME businesses. Share capital is very low, so this is not an obstacle. But there are also other company types, but they are used rarely. So most, I think maybe 85-90% of e-residents prefer to open a private limited company. It can be also non-profit or even public company, but you cannot become a sole trader in Estonia, which is actually anyway the most unreasonable way of running the business in Estonia. Now the costs, e-Residency application is 150 euros. It involves also sending the car to the location where you are going to pick it up. Company registration state fee is 265. This 150 is also state fee, and if you get a denial, then it's not going to be paid back. So this is a state fee you need to pay to get the application processed. The same with the company registration, that this is a state fee. But in addition to that, this 265, some service providers add also service fee, some of them not, depending on the service provider. But it's usually not too much on top of that. Then the contact person is roughly 200 to 400 euros a year, depending on the service provider, and it's very likely that you decide to go on with some kind of subscription-based monthly package, which already involves contact person and accounting, let's say. Accounting prices may be very different. This 50 is rather the lower part of it. It's 50, 60, 80, 90, up to 200 to 300 a year, a month, depending on volumes of your accounting and the specifics, like do you have employees, for example. So very rough estimate is that if you do everything independently, which means that you invest a lot of your own time to make everything correctly and investigate the rules, it's around 600 euros first year. But if you use also the help of the accounting service provider that is also acting as a contact person, for example, then it's about double of the price. But it all depends on your business and your needs. For example, like Krystel is dealing with Amazon. If you are in the e-commerce, there is a huge load of transactions every month, then probably the accounting costs may be a bit higher. Now the business banking options. There are 3 options, which are legally like even, like equal. Majority of e-residents choose the fintech option, which is basically electronic money institutions, for example. You can open an account online. There is a wide choice of them, but they do not provide credit services. So the most popular ones are Wise, Revolut, Payoneer, Paysera, Integgiro. There is like I think 8 or 9 different options available in our marketplace. Then it can be also traditional Estonian bank. In our marketplace, you can find 2 of them. But with the Estonian bank, as said, it's not guaranteed that you will get the account for your company. First of all, they would like to see your strong business connection to Estonia, which means that you either have employees in Estonia or office in Estonia, significant amount of businesses related to Estonia, you hold your assets in Estonia or something like this. So they would like to see your business based in Estonia partly, at least. And then you need to personally visit the bank office in Estonia to get the account opened, which means that if you are, let's say, from Australia, this is pretty long trip. And it can be also a bank in another European Economic Zone bank. So let's say that you are from the EU country where you have already long business history with your companies with one bank. And then you can turn to your bank and say that now you are establishing a new company in Estonia. They can KYC you, they know you. And it's possible that maybe they are okay having also opening an account for your Estonian company. And this is also fine. So out of those 3, we always recommend to start with fintechs because this is probably the easiest to set up. You can do it basically on the same day as company formation. And also from the marketplace, you can find also payment gateway providers. Now let's have some Q&A related to business formation. Do we have something for Ivar or Krystel?
Well, basically, yes, I think it goes to everyone, mostly Eva, but Krystel as well from personal experience. How hard is it actually to run accounting by yourself?
Yeah, I can tell from my side, being operator for 15 years in Estonia with several companies, it's not difficult until it involves tax. So it means like if you only have expenses and maybe 1 consulting invoice per month, and you're not crossing the VAT registration threshold, most of local founders don't even bother to do their books monthly because they just pour everything to their poor accountant once a year to do the annual accounts. So it's not difficult if you're not registered for that, or you don't have any team members you need to get monthly salaries, or you're distributing regular dividends. So as long as there's no tax, it's relatively easily, and there's some expense management softwares available which you can use easily to just keep all the documents, because important part is that bank statement is not sufficient, so you need to keep all your source documents for 7 years, which is different from the UK, for example, where bank statement and your word is fine enough for the accountant.
So I think I can continue with another interesting question. Would an Estonian bank recognize virtual office as a legitimate business address and sufficient connection to Estonia for opening a bank account? How is your experience with that?
No.
Well, it really depends on the bank, because I think it's not so much to do with the company address if you're going to a real Estonian high street bank, but about the founder and director residency. So if an Estonian person has a virtual office address, bank doesn't really care. But if you're a non-resident, including e-resident, it's more to do with your actual personal residency as a founder and board member than the virtual office address, because virtual office address is totally legal and you can use that. But if the bank actually wants you to prove your connection to Estonia because they have a conservative view about who do they serve, and you have no team members here, no office, no board members, no partners, no clients, nothing, then most high street banks would reject you as a client, because they don't want to increase their portfolio of non-resident clients, because it's internationally under heavy scrutiny for years by now.
Okay.
From my side, let me just give you my own perspective. I think you can definitely operate an e-residency or an Estonian business, using the e-residency program, of course, with just fintech service providers and those online bank accounts that I call them online bank accounts, but you know, Raimo, that you showed in your in the slide before. It's absolutely fine, and you can manage. I think it's actually even better than having a standard bank account in terms of how you invoice your customers and how you operate. We started off with a fintech service provider. We started off with Wise. And then after a year, when we had built up our portfolio for our company in Estonia, we were able then to, thankfully, we were able to register and open a business bank account in a high street bank like we were talking about later on, an actual bank in Estonia. And just to let everyone know, I had never visited Estonia before, never had stepped foot in Estonia, and I was able to do all of this and manage my company remotely 100%.
That's also pretty common. We have seen it several times that e-residents, first of all, start off with fintech. And once the business grows or they have everything set up and they have established this connection to Estonia, then they turn to bank and then get approved as well. Krystel, you maybe just like additional question, because there was a question about accounting. How have you solved the accounting part, or what does your customers do? Because in e-commerce, the volumes are high usually.
Yeah, well, for me personally, and for any person that we work with as well, we normally always suggest to work with service providers. Raimo, you know, I'm like in love with the e-residency marketplace, because there's like so many great service providers that are really here to serve the e-residency community. I believe if you're like in this business, you really need to focus on operating your business rather than waste time on doing taxes. I do understand for somebody that's starting up, you might think, oh, this is going to be really good because I don't have to pay a tax advisor or a consultant, but it is taking up time and focus. And in business, you need to have singularity of focus, and that's growing your business. So from the very beginning, I've never attempted, because I hate taxes and I hate accounting. So I've never attempted to do it myself. We've worked with incredible service providers, several from the marketplace, of course. And anyone that we advise and anyone that I know and works with us or somebody that I meet from the e-residency program, I would always say, just work with someone, they'll take care of it. We just send out all of our invoices and someone takes care of them. We don't have to worry about it. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, great. So now we can talk about taxes.
Now let's talk about taxes, the most popular topic, Krystel. We still cannot neglect it because basically, especially when you operate in different countries, it always is a big question mark. And I think, first of all, for this, we need to make sure that it's pretty clear how many kinds of taxes there actually are. So basically, there are different types. So you have your personal income tax, and this is always declared where you are as a tax resident. So in the country where you are the tax resident, basically. Then we have another one. This is the corporate income tax. This is declared where your company is registered, the home of your company, and where you have your permanent establishment. So those are two very different things already. But it's not only two. Let's make it more complex. So we have social taxes. So that's a big question. They need to be declared where your employees are located. This is not automatically where the company are or your personal income tax will be. And then to add to this, we have the VAT, the value added tax. And this especially applies to the online sellers who declare the VAT within the EU. And this depends on which country they have the VAT residency, where they actually obtained the VAT number from. So already from this, you can see that it's not super easy. This does not mean automatically when you're an e-resident, you have an Estonian company, that you only pay taxes in Estonia. So just to dig into this point a bit more, you have your taxes and then you have your company's taxes. So your taxes is where you are located, where you are the tax resident. And this is your personal income tax. And as well, all the social taxes, VAT, your personal things are you. And then on the other side, you have your company. And the company pays taxes generally in the country where they are registered, where the company has the tax residency, and where the company is established. But you still need to take into account there can be a double taxation. There are double taxation treaties, and basically, when you are working in one country, but your company is located in a different country, it can still mean that not all company taxes will be paid in that country where the company is registered, because it might be due as well to the fact that you will have to have a permanent establishment in your home country. This all seems a bit complicated, but actually it is not when you look at it on a more calm moment or a silent moment. And in any case, we always advise you as well to ask a local tax advisor to help you to figure out your personal situation as well, because there is not one rule for everyone. It is very individual. So this really depends. So where do e-residents pay company taxes? So this is very easy in the sense Estonian company has the tax residency in Estonia automatically upon the registration. And as well, the permanent establishment, it concerns the country where the activities are taking place. So if you have a company in Estonia, but you're residing, for example, in Germany, and you're doing most of the work out of Germany, it can mean as well that you will have to have a permanent establishment in Germany. Then you need to take into account that there are a lot of double taxation, non-taxation treaties. So those are the agreements between the countries that you do not have to pay the tax double. It will be divided. So, but just keep in mind that the e-residency does not mean that it's automatically tax residency. And there can be still foreign tax liabilities due to the country where you are residing. And again, we cannot stretch it often enough. Just talk to a local tax consultant as well to help you figure out your case. Still, what makes Estonia so super attractive for having your company here? It has the most competitive tax environment for 11 years now. It is very easy to do the tax here, and it has not much red tape around it. So it's very easy to understand, and the tax rates are very low. So currently as well, there is no annual corporate tax rate, income tax rate, but there will be tax changes coming from 2026 regarding a security package. What Estonia has to decide it upon as well to keep its environment and business environment safer. So from that moment on, there will be a 2% of profit tax as well on the businesses. Then there will be a 22%, or there is already a 22% tax on distributed profits at the moment. At the moment, we have a 22% VAT for sales in Estonia. This will rise as well for 2% in the summer. And of course, I think we even had questions earlier regarding the VAT registration. If your business is higher than 40,000 euros per year in Estonia, you need to register for a VAT number. And of course, there are simplified VAT procedures as well for OSS and IOSS regimes. But still, keep in mind, declaring taxes in Estonia is still very easy. Everything can be declared online and paid online as well. And if you have questions, you can always reach out as well to the tax board, or of course to your service provider who's helping you with this as well. And in any case, I believe no one is left standing there with a big question mark in their mind. There are enough people who can actually help. Another important question as well, what we get as well, how to create substance in Estonia. This is a huge topic, and it's even asked when you're becoming an e-resident as well. What are your plans? The easiest ways to create substance in Estonia is renting an office in Estonia, because it shows as well how much you are attached to Estonia, and of course as well hiring employees is a big benefit as well. You can hold your board meetings in Estonia, ideally in your Estonian office with the employees you actually hired here. But even if you fly in for the board meetings with all your board members from different countries, having it in Estonia, it shows already more substance here. You can register assets, of course, relocate. You can become a digital nomad as well. But those are just different ideas, how to create substance in Estonia. And I can reassure you, it's a wonderful place, and it's definitely worth the relocation.
So time for some Q&A. Actually, I have a question for Ivar or you and your team related taxation. What are like the most common taxation related issues or misunderstandings that you face and need to explain?
Well, the elephant in the room is understanding that you may have tax residency not in Estonia, but somewhere where you're working as a board member. So this is the thing that e-residents normally try to ignore, unless they're German. and Swedes and Finns are not going there at all because they're too afraid to have a double tax residency for their company. So I think this is the number one thing you need to understand, that having a business registration in Estonia may not mean that the company itself and its operations, meaning the business, the essence, is not taxable in a country where it operates. And if you're actually a physical service provider somewhere in Spain, it may mean that the local tax authority sees you as tax liable there. And the Estonian tax office may even question if you should have a VAT registration in Estonia. So definitely, I require or recommend people who really have a business that starts generating cash the first month they register the business just to spend a few €100 on tax advice before starting operating, because clearing the mess later might take more money and may have legal consequences. So it's always to do with having a tax residency somewhere with your company where you're operating, not in Estonia, because Estonia is only the place where you register your company. And everything else is mostly related to how to get money out of the company, and it ends up on your personal tax declaration, and how do you make sure that your country is not double taxing your dividend or any other income you're generating from Estonia. So this is also good to check out what happens when you distribute profits.
Okay. Do you have anything here?
Well, basically, do I have to register a company first before I open the bank account?
Well, you cannot have a company account without company, I guess.
I can comment. Yeah, I actually answered someone asking the same question. So there's a flaw in the Estonian law which says that share capital needs to be deposited before the application is submitted to the register. Estonians can do it with local startup account services which are available from local banks, but e-residents cannot using Wise or Revolut or any other neobank. So it means like you just need to ignore the flaw and you just deposit the share capital after your company is registered, because none of the neobanks would register you a business account before your company is registered in Estonia.
Okay.
I think we have one more question for you, Ivar. It's a bit more complex. What is the procedure if I set up an Estonian company and I want this Estonian company to take over shares of another company in another country?
Well, the thing is that there is no e-resident company in Estonian laws. There's only limited companies, and limited companies can do pretty much everything that is legal or moral. Because if it's not moral, you might have some problems, including service providers not wanting to serve you. But Estonian companies have no restrictions on owning shares in other companies, as long as these are not sanctioned companies or sanctioned shares belonging to sanctioned persons. So if your Estonian company will become a holding company holding US or UK company shares, it's totally fine, because even if they're not publicly traded like Facebook or Google would be, having privately owned shares is totally legal, and everybody in Estonia does that who owns angel investments in companies that are not based in Estonia. So owning equity in other companies is totally fine.
Well, thank you.
I have just another last question also to Krystel. You said that you have worked with several service providers, and as you have also office, you have already pretty long list of business operations you need to do. Like, what have been the main principles or main logic? How have you set up your structure of company, administration and accounting and taxation, so that, as you said, you don't like taxes and the accounting part, to keep it aligned with the laws and at the same time make it as easy as possible for you? What are your tips and tricks for actually, having a good set of service providers and a good way of processing everything?
Thank you for the question. Raimo, I also want to just point out a question that was asked related to when you were talking about, when you guys were talking about taxes, related to how somebody that doesn't speak Estonian, if you would be able to do business in Estonia, or not necessarily do business, but have your company based out of Estonia, and how you would be able to file taxes. It's important to note that Estonia as a country is very, very business minded. That's what I see, at least. Each and every person in Estonia speaks perfect English, and everyone is able to provide you any service that you require, whether you speak Estonian or not. I don't think it'll be possible, like I've been an e-resident for, I celebrated my 4th year in September 2024, and I still basically know a few Estonian words. I think Estonian is quite difficult, even for Estonians themselves. So you're not going to have an issue whether or not you speak Estonian. Just, English, basic English also would be enough, since everything that you do is really remotely. Now, back to your question, it was quite interesting because we started the whole process, Raimo, to remind you, back in 2020, where the whole world was literally online and shut down. So everything that we were doing was remotely. Maybe now it doesn't seem so odd, but it was really weird at that time that you would be able to set up a business bank account, an actual company, anything and everything without having to be physically present in the country. But as the business grew, we started finding more and more things that we would require to be able to keep our business running and operating. So one thing that Ivar said, which I would highly, highly recommend as well, I found a lot of great service providers through the marketplace. I never asked anyone, or I never, reached out to any people that I know to ask who I should be working with. I simply booked consultation calls. Each and every one does normally provide you a consultation call. And it's important to it might be a great service provider, but it might not be the right service provider for you. So take the time to do your research and just reach out to the companies and find out what you need and what you require, depending on where you are at in your business, whether you are a startup or an established. For us, we were a mixture between an already established business and a startup at the same time. So we had a lot of needs that we required. And that's why it was a little bit different. But depending on what you are looking for, I would just highly recommend that you reach out to these service providers, meet them, definitely virtually, and learn whether or not they are able to assist you with what you need. You'll also find, for anyone that doesn't know, you'll also find that the business environment in Estonia, and I did see somebody comment about this. Yes, no time wasted. If they are the right service provider for you, they will tell you. If they are not, they will tell you. It'll be very clear, very honest, very transparent, and very open. That's the beauty about Estonia and the Estonian culture, because it's not just about the service providers. That's how people are. They're very straightforward, and they'll let you know the truth immediately, which I highly, highly appreciate. So I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thanks, Kristen. That was really good. So it's time to wrap up what we had here today. So I hope that for those who joined us, it was useful. You got some new information, some ideas, some references where to turn to. What's next? You will get the email about the links to the slides and the recording, and also feedback form. Please do find a minute to give us a feedback to make that live Q&A session even better in the future. So if you still have any questions, then either turn to our customer support, ask your questions in the social media groups in Reddit or Facebook, or if you have questions to Ivar, then contact also Unicount or other service providers who can help you to get started. And of course, you are welcome to start applying as well. This QR code can be used already to land on the website, which will involve today's slides. But I said quite soon you will receive also email about it, so that you can fill out your form and give us the feedback. Now, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we see you, some of you, sometime in the future already here as e-residents. Thanks, and have a nice afternoon, morning, late night, whatever the time is in your home. And thank you, Ivar, Krystel, and all the others who helped us to make it happen.
Thank you. Welcome to Estonia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.